large amount of people who watch my films are from North America, and they're often asking for this thing here, which is a slide out, which in Europe is not really very common yet. I mean, you don't see many on the campsites, and that's really where everything's happened. But if you go to the United States, it's a totally different story, and everybody's parked there with their slide outs out. Now, there are now companies in Europe which are producing them, as well as there's at least one American company that I know of which is producing a slide out, and the advantage is quite clearly that it gives far more space. Now in this case here we have what is, I believe, the smallest caravan in Europe, or one of the smallest. I suppose these tab ones are even smaller, aren't they? But a pretty small caravan there. And what it has been what's been done to it is to have this slide out added to it, and this seems to increase, in my opinion, something like the cubic capacity by about a fifth. But more to the point, I mean, the floor area, if you can count the bed as being on part of the floor area, is about an extra 1/3 or to 1/2 has been added to it. And in this case here, you've got with this gentleman now is looking at the bed, and you've got this space which is next to it, which can now be used for living space. Now, one thing you can do with the slider, of course, is you can put it in your van, and when you're moving, you don't need all this space behind you. You might need to get into the toilet or the kitchen or something like that, so you leave a little gangway so you can get through, and when you get to your destination, then you'll stick your slide out. So in this case, for example, it's been done as a bed, which is quite a logical thing. Now, if you think of a bed, you're going to have to carry 2 people, so you're going to be looking at a carrying capacity possibly as much as 200 kilos. So for 2 people, or maybe even more. So it depends on what they are. Now, one of the problems in the early days of slide outs was that of water retention. Often water would get through, and often this does have this reputation in the United States. I'm quite aware of that. Now, this company here, for example, is sort of prides itself on having produced slide outs which don't leak as such. And actually, I've even heard this from American companies who've even said to me that there was this problem, but I think we've actually resolved it now. So you can slide out, in this case, okay, bed, but I mean you also have toilets and bathrooms, and you can even have sort of a kitchen or something like that. Man, all sorts of things can be used for them. Now, if I walk out here like this now, and you can see what's happening, you've got this bit sticking out. So look how much extra that it actually gives to it. In this case, the slider plus the mechanism is an extra 50 kilos or so, but I mean by the time you've got the bed and the internal stuff, it'll go up to around 80 kilos. I believe that the motors, it's 4 motors for it, and that's around 28 kilos. So it's not really a great deal. But what happens when the motors fail? I mean, obviously they are going to that, and in any case, I think most of us would want to know how to get the thing back in again. And in some cases, you actually remove a bolt or something like that, and you can push it back in, or you can winch it back in, depending on the circumstances. Let's have a look around it now and see how this is. There you are. Whoops. Inno Slide. And you can see how it's shaped. Now, my personal belief is that in Europe we're going to see slide outs used in a slightly different way than the United States. Now, in Europe we have lots of smaller vehicles, so it stands to reason, because not only are our roads smaller, I believe, but also we've got these small little villages in the Mediterranean where everyone wants to go in the motorhome, and you can't get a big bus through there, so you can get smaller vehicles. Now, I think that one obvious use for slide outs would be, for example, if you take a Mercedes Sprinter and you convert that, and it's only 199 centimeters on the outside at the moment. What do you want to sleep width-wise? By the time you put in your insulation and all the other stuff, you're probably down to a bed which is 180 centimeters in length. Well, I mean, for most people that's not acceptable. So the answer is maybe to have a little slide out for the bed to make it a bit longer. I mean, for example, Westphalia and Sven Hedin have done something which they call the pop out, and it works like this, and it's very discreet. And I think that the shape of the slide out would be the same as the shape of the outer wall. That's in my opinion. So anyway, that's one use which I would like to forecast for it. Of course, I mean, even in vehicles like Sprinters, there was one I filmed in Birmingham in 2016, where the vehicle had been used to extend for the bed and for the wet room as well. So we have this company here from Holland, who also make these windows, for example, and blackout blinds for windows. We've got as well as this slide out use. Okay, so there you go. If you're interested in being a distributor, you can actually contact them, Inno Slide. Find them on the internet. There you go, innoslide.com. So if you want to be a distributor for something like that, that's something you can do. There we go, more space, less weight. A leisure vehicle can be shortened way less and actually feature more living space by integrating a slide out. It's got features. No leakage, stylish flush against the wall, radius corner, concealed drive system, single piece rubber seal, lightweight, self-supporting system. Construction connect the slide out corners to the wall panels. And one thing I'd like to say about the rubber seals is they do need a service every 3 years or thereabouts, that's my understanding. So construction of the assembled frame over the slide out box and connect to the brackets. Connect the front wall and mount the slide out in the wall. So that's how it works. So if you're interested in knowing more, you can contact them on the Inno Slide website. I've got more films about this subject on my own website, as well as plenty of other stuff related to motorhome equipment. And indeed from this fair here, which is Caravan Salon in Dusseldorf. I filmed quite a lot in this hall here, which is for equipment, and that may be of interest to you. So you can see what else we've got here.